Hi everyone, this is Colin from Lachepasfloodrelief. I thought I'd make a quick video because I'm having trouble disseminating information quickly enough to people who want to know. So here's a brief rundown of what what we are trying to accomplish with this flood relief effort. A big part of this is in a disaster. It seems like a lot of people, very competent people, very intelligent and very creative, just lots of skilled people have the desire to help, but they feel helpless because they don't know what they can do, particularly when they're not in the flood zone and they can't go gut a house. And so what I want to do is I want to make it easy for people to help. And one of those ways is just by simply getting the message out that you can help. You just have to kind of take what I've done and figure it out as you go, because nobody knows what they're doing in this situation. I mean, maybe other than people who actually are just disaster management people. And you just have to trust that, you make it up as you go along, and hopefully it'll work out. So the biggest part of that is I want to empower people to help, particularly those people who are outside of the flood areas. Secondly, I want to increase awareness of what's happening here in Acadiana. Acadiana is a set of parishes in the, kind of south central, southwest part of Louisiana that is heavily Cajun culture, fairly rural, fairly small communities, a lot of agriculture. And right now, last I checked at least, I don't really have time to check the news, but right now, Acadiana is, from what I understand, is getting ignored by media and relief efforts. Not ignored, but all the focus is on Baton Rouge, and the area is harder hit by the storm. And I think that is great. I think that people stepping up to help the people in Baton Rouge and Livingston Parish and all of those places is wonderful, but I want to make sure that the people who don't have as loud of a voice, such as the farmer I know in St. Martin Parish, the people I know in Lake Arthur, Louisiana, and Hathaway, Louisiana, Iota, Louisiana, can also get relief that they need, because these people are sometimes, not always, they've lived their whole life in Lake Arthur, for example, and they haven't really spent much time out of it. So they don't have the network to draw on that maybe some of us have who have lived either out of the state or in other more, just anywhere, like in New Orleans or something, where you're meeting more people who are transplanted to Louisiana. So a big part of this, I think, is going to be just getting stories out there, and to make sure that the aid is flowing to the Acadiana area. So I have a couple of kind of calls to action that we can kind of go with to start, because a lot of people feel like they don't have time or they don't have the expertise to help. So there's something that pretty much anybody who is at least a millennial can do. And that big one is collect content, meaning stories of flood victims, pictures of flood victims, interviews, uplifting news, etc., and share it via social media. You may assume that because the flood is dominating your news feed, that it is getting out there and being heard by the world, but it's not. It's not happening to the people who are not in state. So particularly if you have a lot of social media followers who are outside of Louisiana, your social media presence and sharing will actually be very helpful in the coming weeks. To that end, I think that a flood is not a very exciting disaster. The news can't cover it minute by minute, and it's kind of a slow-moving, terrible process with gutting homes and just general relief efforts. So I think that part of what we need to do is make sure that the national conversation still exists, that it is focused on Acadiana relief efforts as well as other areas, and that we personalize people's tragedies, people's and triumphs, that we make personal stories that we can connect people to, because I think a lot of people I've already heard want to provide direct aid to families rather than go through organizations because of various, reasons. And I think we can do that. And I think the personalized story is much more compelling as a narrative going forward. And we'll keep the focus longer term, get the help longer term in Louisiana. Another thing is I've been reading in some places that shelters are overwhelmed by certain kinds of donations, the kind of donations that might be needed more in the long run, such as clothes, home goods, people might need appliances, building materials, etc. And those are not being accepted, and I want to find a space to accept those donations while they're pouring in from out of state now, because I think if we're turning anything away, the donations will not be there when we have time to focus on more long-term needs. Okay, so how can you help? So I've already mentioned collecting content and sharing via your social media and just being a voice for the people here in Acadiana. We've created a Facebook page, lachepasfloodrelief. It's just Facebook /lachepasfloodrelief. Go there, like our page, sign up to be on our volunteer list, and start sharing content. A big part of this is once we get the audience, we get the people to act. So right now we need to get the audience. We need to get anyone who has like a big social media presence to draw traffic to our page. Additionally, I'm going to give out more information about ways people can help as this evolves, but the problem right now is that I am so overwhelmed by trying to delegate and coordinate that I can't actually stop and talk to anyone for a long time and really explain what's going on. So it's kind of like I need backup so that we can really get our message out there. And lots of you can do work remotely because a lot of it is just social media marketing. It's content creation. It's building a website. It's putting up images. It's getting images. It's getting graphics. It's contacting news organizations once we have someone who can talk to them. It's compiling the list of people who want to be talked. Like I get emails, I get Facebook messages, I get texts, I get all of these things, and they're flying at me in all these directions, and I can't respond to everyone in an efficient, cohesive way. So I really, a big part of this is I would like to put in place a sort of systematic overall approach to disaster scenarios, because I think we could plug and play this like anywhere in any kind of disaster if we come up with a very systematic approach. And the big part of that, I think, is just making people believe they can help, and of course making people think there's something to help. That's probably not all I have to say, but things are going kind of rapidly here, so I can't really form many thoughts cohesively. One thing is, if you're following, Ryan Dejean is going to be at Rev Coffee in Lafayette tonight taking volunteer sign-ups, and then I believe he's going to be moving over to Blue Moon where Fufale is having a benefit show to also give out information. I will try to be there. I'm not sure that I'll be able to. We'll see how it goes. So if you want to help right now, the big thing is go to the Facebook page. There's an email address, there's a phone number, and there's a sign-up sheet for people who want to be in touch. And that's the first big step. Second big step is start collecting content. And especially people who are good at maybe taking interview video style tours of homes, etc. That would be really helpful too. I'm probably rambling, so I'm going to go ahead and stop this for now. But if you need any if you have any questions, I guess, go ahead and email lachepasfloodrelief@gmail.com for now. But please try to read through the materials that I have shared on social media and on my own personal social media. I'm on Facebook as Colin Catherine with a C. So if you can read some of that stuff before you come at me with questions, that would be very helpful in making this process more streamlined. And that's it for now. Okay. I'm excited to have everyone's help, and I know that we can do a lot together. We just have to believe that we can.